Welcome back, Holistic Soul Sisters. I'm Mandy Rose. I'm your holistic health coach, spiritual mentor, and astrologer. In today's video, we are going to talk all about Mercury and retrograde that is happening in the zodiac sign of Libra. I know when everyone hears Mercury retrograde, we go, oh crap, what's going to happen next? So in this video, we are going to dive into what is a retrograde, what happens when Mercury goes retrograde, what does it mean when he's retrograding through the zodiac sign of Libra. What are some specific dates that you need to keep in mind as Mercury does its retrograde dance? And at the end of this video, I'm going to give you some do's and don'ts so that you can prepare for this Mercury retrograde. So let's dive right into the basics. First of all, this Mercury retrograde will be beginning on September 27th at 25 degrees of Libra. And then he will be retrograding until October 18th, where he will end up at 10 degrees of Libra. This Mercury retrograde is gonna start out a little icky and nasty, and it's gonna feel a little rough in the relationships in our life. But as we progress through the next 3 weeks of this Mercury retrograde in Libra, you are gonna start to feel lighter. You're gonna confront some issues that you have with other people. You're gonna set some stronger boundaries. You're gonna reevaluate what actually brings you joy. We are gonna dig down into our subconscious, and we're gonna really reassess what brings us joy in this lifetime. And by the time we get to October 18th, a lot of other planets are going to be coming out of retrograde that have been retrograde all summer long. So we are going to have so much forward motion. Things are going to be sorted out, things are going to be smoothed over, and a lot of miscommunication will be cleared up. I'm going to give you guys way more details on when and how all that's going to happen in just a moment. But first, let's go back over what is a retrograde. For those of you who don't know exactly what a retrograde is, essentially a retrograde is an optical illusion happening in the sky from our perspective here on planet Earth. Every day, we typically wake up and see a planet rotate around us from east to west, just like the sun, just like the moon. But then there's this 3-week period of time where Mercury does not go from east to west. It looks like, from our perspective on planet Earth, that he's actually going from west to east. And this is what we call a retrograde motion. This is when the planet goes back over a zodiac sign in the opposite direction, forcing us to go back over some part of our life. That's why I say retrogrades are a time for any word that begins with the word reevaluate, reassess, review, re-understand, recommunicate, reanalyze something in our lives that we have either tried already and failed at, or that we just powered through and didn't think clearly. So this is the time for slowing down, double checking, and making sure that everything we're planning on doing as we move forward through the rest of this astrological year and into 2022 is exactly what we want to do. Now, who is Mercury? Mercury is our planet of communication, of thoughts, of our mental aspects. He is the communicator of the zodiac. It's all about the mind when it comes to Mercury. Now, Mercury also rules travel and transportation. He rules technology and the internet. So these are all themes and topics of what we need to be reassessing, reevaluating, and reviewing as we go through the next 3 weeks. I always say, think back to Greek mythology. When we talked about Mercury, the Greek god, he always had those little wings on his feet because he was the communicator. He would deliver letters from one person to another, and he was always in motion. This is the energy of Mercury. So when Mercury goes retrograde and he goes backwards, he's forcing us to go over some way that we communicate, to reassess some part of our mental health and the way that we view the world and think about things and how we think of others and ourselves. He's also asking us to reevaluate how we use technology. He rules technology. And again, travel. This is not a time to create new things, create new relationships or new contracts or new communication styles. And this also isn't a time to create new travel plans or new ways of doing things on the internet. This is a time to slow down, go inwards, and reassess what we already have done. You definitely are gonna wanna think twice when you communicate during a Mercury retrograde. So if you are sending a text message to someone, reevaluate it, reassess it before you hit that send button. There's a lot of whoopsie texts that go out during a Mercury retrograde. Also, when it comes to contracts and legal matters, I'm going to talk more about that in just a moment when we talk about the zodiac sign of Libra, which Mercury is retrograding through. But no matter what, when Mercury retrogrades through any any zodiac sign, it's not a great time to sign contracts. Anything that puts things in forward motion is not something we should be doing during a Mercury retrograde. This is a challenge for us from the universe to slow down and double check and not just to rush forward, because if you rush forward during a Mercury retrograde, you will have to circle back around later on. Now, like I keep mentioning, Mercury is retrograding through the zodiac sign of Libra. What does Libra bring to the table? This is the lens at which we are going to view our communication, view our mental health, view what things we should be reassessing, reevaluating, redoing during this Mercury retrograde. And Libra is the zodiac sign of relationships, diplomacy, negotiation, contracts, legal matters, and love. Libra is represented by the scales. It wants harmony, it wants balance, it wants fairness. And this is such a beautiful zodiac sign for Mercury to retrograde through, because it's going to bring back a lot of harmony into our lives. Libra rules relationships. So Mercury, with its communication, is going to help give us the skills that we need to communicate with someone else, especially if we have not been in harmony with them. Has there been a miscommunication? Has there been some sort of struggle? Has there been some sort of fallout between you and another person, and there just hasn't been any reconnection? This Mercury retrograde in Libra, ruling relationships and harmony and justice and balance, is going to give you the energy and give the other person the energy to bring this back and tip the scales into fairness. Libra is an air sign, and all zodiac signs that are air signs represent our logical mind, represent our thoughts and our communication. So Mercury loves doing a retrograde through Libra because Libra deals with the mental. Libra deals with our thoughts, and Mercury rules our communication. This is a perfect harmonious energy for Mercury to work together with the Libra energy and help us communicate and deal with our mental thoughts in relationship to other people. Now, the ruling planet of Libra is Venus. So it's really important during a Mercury retrograde to look at what zodiac sign he is going through, and then who is the ruler of that sign and what is going on with the ruler. So Venus is the ruler of Libra. So where is Venus in the zodiac chart? So I'm going to put up the chart right here for you guys. Venus is in the zodiac sign of Scorpio. And this is why I said at the beginning of the video that this Mercury retrograde, when it begins, is going to feel a little icky and a little nasty, because Venus hates being in Scorpio. It's what we call in its fall in Scorpio. She doesn't like being there. She's super uncomfortable. Venus is about beauty and joy and love and romance and fun. And Scorpio is all about the deep subconscious, our feelings, the secrets, the baggage that we carry around. And Venus is like, oh my gosh, I just want it light and fun and happy. I don't want to go through this icky feelings and these subconscious thoughts. So Venus is sitting here in Scorpio, bringing this energy of our deep subconscious, of our fears, while Mercury is retrograding through Venus's home sign of Libra. So you see how this is all kind of tying together. This is setting the stage of the energy we are going to feel over the next 3 weeks. So it's going to start out feeling icky. You're going to have some really weird feelings about other people and things that you maybe used to love to do. All of a sudden, you're realizing you don't really love them that much. This is a big question that's going to be in a lot of people's minds. Why don't I like this person as much as I used to? Why don't I like doing these activities as much as I used to? Who do I like to spend time with? What do I like to do when I spend time with certain people? And reassessing and reevaluating all these parts of our lives. And Venus also deals with our morals and our values. So there's going to be a big part of boundaries and setting rules that are going to define the relationships, Libra, relationships in our lives. Mercury, we're going to start to think about, in this relationship with this person, how do I want to define it? What are my values on it? Do I value the relationship, or am I actually realizing that maybe it's not for me anymore? So many questions like this are going to come up for you over the next 3 weeks. Now remember, this isn't a time to act. This is a time to think. Mercury is the mind, thinking, reassessing, reevaluating. So this is setting the stage. Now I want to go into some specific dates for you that are going to help guide you through this 3-week period of the Mercury retrograde. Now, the first dates we're going to talk about is what's called the pre-shadow phase of a retrograde. By the time you're watching this video, this phase has already passed. So this is something you're going to have to reflect upon and think back over these past few weeks, what has come up leading to this point of the Mercury retrograde. So the pre-shadow phase started on September 6th. This is when Mercury started in the sky at 10 degrees of Libra. From September 6th until the Mercury retrograde starts on September 27th, Mercury has went from 10 degrees of Libra all the way to 25 degrees of Libra. This is the point then on the 27th where Mercury will backtrack in the sky to 10 degrees of Libra by October 18th. So this phase from September 6th until September 27th was what we called the pre-shadow. This is bringing up the themes. It is setting the stage. Things have happened in your life, conversations, interactions with people, plans that you've made, maybe some sort of contract that you're preparing to sign. Something has come up in your life relating to relationships, other people, plans, travels, maybe even technology. Are you planning on launching a social media campaign? Are you planning on launching something over the internet? Have you decided to maybe purchase something new in the technology space, like a new computer or something related to transportation and travel, like maybe buying airline tickets or booking a hotel or looking at purchasing a new car? What has come up in this pre-shadow phase related to Mercury and related to the retrograde in Libra that has set the stage for you and your lesson that you need to learn during this Mercury retrograde? So think back to that pre-shadow. And then on September 27th, the official Mercury retrograde in Libra will kick off. On this day, Mercury is going to be at 25 degrees of Libra, getting ready to backtrack to 10 degrees of Libra. This is the day and the point in the energy where you're going to go, okay, that's why that conversation had to happen with a specific person. Or this might be a point where all of a sudden your plans fall through. A wrench comes up in the program. Something blindsides you out of nowhere and you're going to be like, what the heck? I had all these plans. I had this conversation with this person. Why aren't they understanding? Why aren't they being fair? Why isn't this going like I expected it to go? Some sort of delay in the plan, some sort of delay in the conversation. Maybe the relationship you thought you were good and now all of a sudden you're having some sort of fight or miscommunication or something is just topsy-turvy as soon as this Mercury retrograde begins. Now, halfway through the Mercury retrograde, this is where things are going to get really interesting. As Mercury is retrograding from 25 degrees of Libra back to 10 degrees of Libra, the halfway point is on October 9th. On October 9th, Mercury will be at 16 degrees of Libra, but when he gets to 16 degrees of Libra, he is going to bump into the sun, who has already bumped into Mars, and we are going to have what's called a Mercury cazimi. And this means that you are going to have Mercury at 16 degrees, the sun at 16 degrees, and the planet Mars all at 16 degrees of Libra at the same exact time. This is a really powerful energy. Not only is it the halfway point in the Mercury retrograde where we started to learn some lessons and we started to reevaluate and we started to think about what we like and what we don't like anymore, where we started to assess our relationship with other people, we started realizing maybe we need some more boundaries, maybe we need to redefine how we interact with certain people and what kind of harmony we need to create so that we can move forward with our lives that deal with other people. So on October 9th, when this cazimi happens in the sky, essentially Mercury has brought us to the midpoint of our thinking and reassessing phase. The sun comes in, bringing lightness and brightness and clarity to these thoughts, which is amazing because now we're going to start to see clearer. We're going to start to open our eyes and go, wow, okay, now I have my head wrapped around this. Now I can really understand and see what's going on here. And then Mars comes dancing in. And Mars is the planet of aggression, of passion, of war, of conflict. He's a fighter. And so originally we would think, oh my God, adding this powerhouse fire energy to this already relationship-oriented crazy Mercury retrograde, we would think, oh no. But The thing is, Mars doesn't like to be in Libra. He's really uncomfortable in Libra. Libra is all about balance and harmony and fairness and diplomacy and negotiation. And so Mars being here, he's got to rein it back a little bit and put that passion and aggression towards solving the problem, of bringing back the scales of justice and harmony into our lives. So we're going to feel the passion of wanting to solve some sort of disharmony in our relationships. Mars is kind of like, I'm throwing up my hands, I'm done fighting, I'm done arguing, I just want to solve the problem, I just want to get to the root of it so that we can all move on and we can all be happy with the outcome. So this will be a big middle point on October 9th, so pay attention as that date comes up for you. Then from October 9th all the way until October 18th, things are going to start to move forward. Things are going to clear up. Those miscommunications are going to get sorted out. This is the point where the scales start to tip back into fairness. Your relationship with other people will start to become more harmonious because they're willing to give a little and you're willing to give a little. Things will just slowly start to smooth themselves out. And by the time we get to October 18th, we are going to feel a total energy shift from September 27th when this Mercury retrograde began. We're going to know a lot more clear what relationships we want to keep and how do we want to define them, what kind of plans we want to have for our future that's going to bring beauty and love and joy, the Venus values to our lives. And we're also just going to feel a lot more clear mentally what we want moving forward. Now, something else really fun that's going to be happening on October 18th when Mercury comes out of retrograde is that Jupiter is also coming out of retrograde on the exact same day. Now, if you don't know what a Jupiter retrograde means, go ahead and watch my Jupiter retrograde video because Jupiter is our planet of abundance, expansion, money, prosperity. And when he's been retrograde, he's been really slowing us down. He's been really holding a lot of blessings back and abundance and flow from our lives because he was teaching us some lessons around those things. So go ahead and watch that video so you know what lessons you should have learned up until October 18th when this Mercury retrograde ends and Jupiter's retrograde also ends. Also, while this Mercury retrograde was happening, Saturn has come out of retrograde and he's our tough love dad. He's our karma. So have you learned the lessons that you needed to learn from Saturn's retrograde? If you don't know what they are, go ahead and watch the Saturn retrograde video because he is going to either bless us with good karma or he's going to teach us a tough love lesson when he comes out of retrograde. Also, Pluto has come out of retrograde during this Mercury retrograde season, so that's going to feel a lot lighter because Pluto's all about our ego and control and manipulation. He's the planet of death and endings and transformation. So all this fresh forward energy that we've been really needing. I said way back before the beginning of summer when all these major planets started to go retrograde, it was going to feel really icky and sticky in the middle of retrograde season. By the time we got to August and September, many of us have felt stuck and stagnant. We were on a roll at the beginning of the year. We were so excited, new year, new goals, 2020 behind us, and we started to jump into a lot of new things, new jobs, new passion projects, a new home or a new move to a new state or just a new lifestyle. But then in the summer, things started to hold back. Opportunities weren't coming to us. Tough lessons were being learned. We were having to rebuild new foundations and all these things were just slowing us down. And now when Mercury comes out of retrograde, we are going to feel like free little birds. We're only going to have a couple planets still in retrograde at this time. So things are going to feel a lot lighter. Now to wrap up this video, I'm going to share with you guys some do's and don'ts so that you're fully prepared for the next 3 weeks. If you have your 2021 Retrograde Astrology Journal, you can go ahead and open it up to the Mercury Retrograde in Libra page, and on there you will see a chart that I've put together listing some do's and don'ts. So I'm going to share with you guys some of those today. The first do is back up all of your technology. This is something I say for every single Mercury retrograde because Mercury rules technology and communication. And you don't want to lose all that precious data, those beautiful photos, and all those documents that you've spent a lot of effort creating. So go ahead and back up all of your technology. Second thing you should do during this Mercury retrograde is to revamp your social media profiles. Because Mercury is retrograding in the zodiac sign of Libra, and Libra deals with relationships and other people. It deals with our personal, intimate relationships and also our business relationships. If you are trying to promote yourself on your social media, go ahead and revamp those profiles. Make sure that they are promoting you in the best way possible. Reanalyze and reassess what values and morals you're projecting. Reevaluate how you're communicating. Maybe you've been using Instagram and the photo platform that Instagram provides, but maybe photos aren't your thing. Maybe during this Mercury retrograde, you realize that you're much better at speaking and communicating, and so you decide to create a podcast instead. So revamp your social media platforms. The third do for this Mercury retrograde is do reconnect with old friends. This is a great time, like I said, Libra being all about harmony, balance, justice, fairness. This is a great time to reconnect with those people that you've had a falling out. Maybe you had a miscommunication. Maybe your relationship with this person hasn't been left on good terms. This is a great time to reconnect because both parties are going to be feeling like they just want some resolution and some harmony and some joy back in their lives. Also, friends that maybe you just haven't talked to in a long time. Mercury being about communication. So jumping back into a relationship, checking in on old friends. This is a great time to do it. Now let's talk about those don'ts. The number one don't for any Mercury retrograde is don't begin new projects. This isn't a time, like I said at the beginning of this video, to jump forward. We need to reassess, reevaluate, rethink, redo, reanalyze, re-go over the things that have already started in our lives, especially the things that happened in that pre-shadow phase from September 6th until September 27th before Mercury went retrograde and danced over the part in the sky that he was retrograding through. So don't jump into new things. You'll probably have to circle back around. You'll probably have missed a step or signed a contract that you maybe didn't see some fine print on. So just chill during this Mercury retrograde. The number two don't for this Mercury retrograde is don't gossip. Don't communicate maliciously about anyone. Because again, Libra is about harmony and relationships, and Mercury being about communication. If you gossip or are malice towards someone, this is going to come back and bite you in the butt. This is definitely a lesson that Mercury is trying to teach all of us. And the number three don't for this Mercury retrograde, which is super important because it's happening in Libra, is don't get upset by miscommunications. They are going to happen. They always happen during a Mercury retrograde. But with Libra being about relationships, there are definitely going to be some misunderstandings. One person is going to want something one way. You're not going to understand why. You might react a certain way. They don't understand why. This is going to happen in our relationships. So if it does, chill, take a deep breath, and understand that when we get to that midway point on October 9th, a lot of those miscommunications with the sun coming conjunct Mercury are going to bring things to light. And we're going to have Mars coming in to resolve conflict. So just let it go, and by the time we get to October 18th, Mercury will be out of retrograde, and those miscommunications will just lighten up. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. I hope it brought you guys some great information, and I hope that this Mercury retrograde really teaches you the lessons you need so that we can end this year, 2021, on a really strong note. Make sure you guys hit like and subscribe. If you haven't gotten your copy of the 2021 Retrograde Astrology Journal, I still have them on sale since we are wrapping up this year. Now, don't forget, this is not only just an interactive journal throughout the year, but it's also educational. It goes over every new and full moon, every sun season that has already happened, so you can go back and learn so much, even though some of these events have already passed by. So feel free to reach out to me. I also do personal birth chart readings. I am back from vacation and doing a limited number of birth chart readings as I prepare to write my 2022 Retrograde Astrology Journal. Find my email in the description box below. Just send me an email with the title birth chart reading, and we can talk about setting you up for a reading. I do personal readings, I do yearly forecast readings, and I also do relationship compatibility readings. So it will help you better understand your partner, your siblings, your business partners, your family members, or anyone in your life that is important to you. Thank you guys so much, and I'll catch you in the next video.